What's up, scoopers and non-scoopers? Welcome to the Scoop Podcast. Today, we have the pleasure of chatting with Kohl from Sandia Pet Waste Removal Services. Thank you so much for joining us, Kohl.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. Like you said, I run Sandia Pet Waste Removal out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Our business is pretty boring, but we're growing pretty quick and happy to be here.
Yeah, I seen that. I was looking at your stuff online, and then we talked before we hit record. And you're so young, your business is booming. You have several employees, and you're doing the residential and you're doing the commercial. And I have so many questions. So I hope you're ready to do a dive deep or do a deep dive. And
Let's dive deep.
Yeah, whatever. And let our listeners know, because I have a lot of questions as well, and I'm sure that the listeners are going to be like, yes, ask these questions. So let's get into it. Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. So you said that you're out of New Mexico?
Yes, Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay. I've never been there. Where is that located in the map?
You're not missing out. We're very, very west.
Okay.
We're kind of like right below Arizona. It's nothing's going on here. It's extremely boring. So Albuquerque is basically like the only big city in New Mexico.
Okay.
That it's pretty dang small, and a lot of tumbleweeds, a lot of desert. We have a nice mountain, and that's about it.
And that's what your business is named after, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Our mountain is called Sandia Peak, I think. And so it's like a nice local name that quite a few businesses have here, but it just kind of points to, we're local, not a franchise. I thought it would help out a little bit with the kind of marketing side of things.
Yeah, that's nice. And that's good for SEO. So it's hot there. I imagine you scoop all year round.
We
right?
do. It's not as hot as you think.
Okay.
So it's been pretty dang cold lately. But it's not like where it freezes over, kind of like in Michigan. I'm actually from Michigan.
Nice.
Not quite like Michigan. So we can scoop you around, we're typically not frozen out, but we'll have some snow days every year. And we'll just freeze our butts off.
So when it does snow, do you guys go out or do you call it?
It typically depends because New Mexico snow is weird. Well, we'll have like a heavy snow and it'll all be gone by noon. So sometimes we'll do like a half day or it kind of depends on how the scheduling works out. And if we have enough people, we might move it to a day after or a day before if we're anticipating it. So we play it by ear. But typically I try not to put my employees through it, and we'll skip to the next day.
Oh yeah, I want to get into the employee stuff here in a minute because that's something that has me so stressed out. And I get questions all the time about staffing and hiring and shuffling them, and I can't answer these questions because I'm not there in my business yet.
Sure.
So I'm really excited to chat with you selfishly. But before we hop into that, how long have you been in business for?
I think we're a little over 2 years.
Nice. And how many, around how many customers do you have?
I was actually just checking before we talked. I think as of today, we're at 540 subscriptions.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's probably like 500 or 510 clients because we have some like deodorizer clients that we connect.
Yeah.
An account.
What do you attribute your growth to? Do you do a lot of marketing, a lot of word of mouth?
We do a lot of everything. So
Okay.
we were pretty big marketing spend. I really didn't take much out of the business until like 6 months ago. I really wasn't paying myself much, just pretty much exactly what I needed to make it. And I'd put the rest just straight into Facebook ads, Google ads. I ran newspaper ads, flyers. We were kind of doing it all. And we're starting to bring it down a little bit to where it's more of a healthy amount versus just pretty much everything we make. But that's the main part of it. We treat our clients really good. So we have a lot of word of mouth, a lot of referrals, and a lot of networking too. Like when I first started, I went to a bunch of different like grooming shops and doggy daycares.
Yep.
And I left my cards with them, and the owners are really cool. And in fact, the owners were typically my first clients when I started. Yeah. It'd be like, oh, I'm so busy running this business, I don't have time for it. But they know it needs to get done. So we actually picked up quite a few owners of small businesses right away. And that's typically it. A lot of marketing going into it.
Now, did you have a business background or a marketing background? What's your background?
Yeah, no, not at all. I started college before I dropped out. Um,
Yes.
and I was going for business. I've always been interested since I've been a kid. I was like those kids, in middle school selling like candy out of their lockers. That was me. And then from high school, I'd always like buy and resell, flip things on Craigslist, eBay, everything like that. So it's always just been in me. Um, and I just nothing really. I'm learning as I go, making a ton of mistakes and just trying not to make them a second time.
No, I feel you with that. That's the same with me. I didn't have a ton of business background and figuring it out as we go. But at a certain point, it becomes too much to do all the marketing and the
Mhm.
advertising, and you're working in the field. And as you can tell, I
Oh
have
no.
I have a hurt wrist, and so I need to pull out. I got to pull out for a little bit so I can rest my wrist, which is going to lead me to have to hire. And
Mhm.
it's expensive, it's stressful, and I'm not exactly sure how to do it. So when you got, hold on one second. Hey, I'm recording. Please. I have kids.
No worries.
Okay, but yeah, so I'm trying to figure out, I do have an employee. She found me and it was easy. And I've had a couple employees, but it seems like everybody just finds me. I haven't really had to go out and find somebody.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, now I need to go and hire.
Mhm.
How did you go about that at what point, actually? At what point did you decide I need to hire?
It was around maybe 175 or so clients. I knew because I've just been listening to podcasts my whole life. I've just been trying to learn. Because I don't have a degree, I didn't go to school for it. So yeah, we got to learn somewhere else. Um, so I knew I couldn't just stay working in my business. I had to work on it. So I figured right when I could pay myself full time, I wouldn't, but I'd split that and I'd pay a tech to do the routes, and I would try and work on the marketing and the business and pick up those really out of the way houses, that kind of thing. So I was scooping part time after I got my first hire, who I found through Facebook. Um, in fact, funny about it, he's actually my only hire through Facebook. I haven't had too much luck with it,
Hmm.
but besides him, and since then, I'm just trying to keep myself out of the field because as much as I actually enjoy scooping and being outside, um, it's not the best use of my time when I could be growing it.
Yes, especially if you want to build those skills and you want to get out. And a lot of people ask me, they're like, hey, Erica, why haven't you worked yourself out of the field yet? Do you want to
Mhm.
work out of the field? And I've been torn, like, I do enjoy it. But then the other part of me is like, Erica, if you want to grow this, you have to build those skills and get out of there. Well, now with my hand, I'm forced. So at
Yeah,
that
might be a
point,
blessing in disguise.
I know my husband says, he's like, you get the most obvious signs with everything in life where it's
Yeah.
like, and so when you hired your first person, you said you found that person on Facebook.
Yes. Yep.
And were you still working out of your home, or did you have an office space?
I was working out of my home, and then shortly after I hired him, I got a small office, just because I wanted to build. You got to have the appearances of things as well,
Yes.
to get a good environment for your employees, to keep them a long time, have a place to meet, do interviews, that kind of stuff. So I got a small office, and it's actually where I'm at right now.
Hmm. I could tell. So how were you able to afford that? You said that you saved up all of your money, and
Mhm.
then are your rates pretty high to where you can accommodate having an office, paying an employee and stuff?
I would. I guess it depends right on the markets, but my average scoop starts at I think at the time it was 15 was my first time. So we were kind of like mid tier.
Yeah.
We're really not premium priced at all. But we're not the lowest tier either. We have a couple of companies who charge significantly cheaper than we do. And then we have one or two who charge a little bit more than us. So we're
So
kind
when
of
you
right
were
in the middle of that.
when you were setting up your prices, were you thinking like, I want to work myself out of the house, I want to get an office, so I need to work that into my pricing?
Yeah, that's kind of how I came into the business. I was thinking, I can build this up because I want to grow. I have pretty high ambitions, so I want to hit, do other things, do other businesses. I want to do a lot of stuff.
Mhm.
So I had to get out of just scooping. So I kind of planned it from the beginning. I'm gonna try and get out as quick as I can. And once I hit the 175-ish mark of clients, I figured, yeah, I could probably do it and, afford a small office and the one employee until we keep on growing.
Yeah. Okay. So you have the one employee, they're maxed out, right? They can't scoop anymore. Then when do you start to bring on that second employee? Is it part-time? Is it full-time?
Yeah, actually, so since I hired him, so he's my lead tech now. He's been phenomenal. Since then, I've hired only part-time.
Okay.
I do 3 days a week, and then I just do a full day. So pretty much it's just 3 full days of scooping for everyone else. Which is typically about 8 hours or so. And it gives me some flexibility there. And so where I can kind of plug and play people in routes, and it works out pretty well.
Now, how do you handle call-ins? So if somebody calls in, right, and you have your employees working, part-time, what do you do? What does it look like behind the scenes?
Oh man, that's a nightmare. I actually did something like that today. So it's kind of a problem solving thing. There's not a set, even though I should get it done, there's not a set procedure for that for me. First off, I take a look at the routes and I see if I have another tech in the area because I typically don't max my techs out. There's some wiggle room there, so they finish a little early. Also, to where if there's a call in, I can add a few to them. Mm-hmm. So that's what I did today. So I had a tech call out. Actually, in the middle of the route, they had some family thing go on. So I was able to move about half of his yards over to our other scoopers. And then the other half, we unfortunately had to call them like, hey, can we be there tomorrow at this time? Not how I love to do it. I always like to give people service on the same day. But it's a problem solving thing. You kind of got to work with what you got.
And your customers are pretty flexible. Did you get any pushback? From
today, we have gotten no pushback. In fact, typically we don't because we call in so little.
Yeah.
Probably 2 years, a little over 2 years. We probably rescheduled people. I could probably count it on one hand. Because if I can't have a scooper out there, I'll get out there and do it. I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's nice for me because I can get out of the office and I can get some fresh air, and I like scooping. So
it's relaxing and it's peaceful. I do. I enjoy it. So with your part-time employees, how many houses are they scooping per day with being part-time?
So it depends on the employee. Some people are faster scooper than others, but I typically start my people off at 15. Most move up to where they can do 25 in a day, and that's kind of their limit. However, I typically don't schedule them that. I put them anywhere between 20, 22, give them some wiggle room just in case they get behind, something like that. So typically 20 to 22. Our lead tech does 30.
Yeah, my scooper, she's a G. She scoops so many houses, and I'm like, how? And so I asked her, I was like, how do you scoop so many? And she just moves faster than me. I can't.
My lead tech scoops a little faster than I do. And it kind of just depends on the person, because sometimes you don't want to scoop too fast because they might miss a little bit, but you got to gauge who you're working with because some people have it.
Yeah, some people are just really just good at it. Now, this is a question that's asked often. Do you pay hourly or do you pay per yard?
Yeah, the ultimate question, right?
Yeah.
I pay hourly.
Okay.
I don't have anything against paying per yard. That just sounds like more office work to me. Which I'm okay. I'm okay with the amount of office work I have now.
Right.
So with per hour, you might. It's probably depends on how you structure it, whether which one's more efficient or you make more. So I'm not sure. I pay hourly. We pay pretty well. We even cover we don't do pay out gas or miles or anything like that. We just pay a really high hourly to kind of incorporate all that in there.
So are the people using their own vehicles then, or are you supplying vehicles?
For the most part, they're using their own. We have our initial cleanup tech who does all the one-time cleanup, the big ones, all the people just starting their services. They use a company truck. And then we have a second company truck, which right now we're kind of using as on someone's car breaks down. Hey, come use the truck, that kind of thing. I want to get a little hatchback or something where it's just the company car where car in the shop your car's in the shop for maintenance. You can come check out the car, that kind of thing. But as of right now, most people use their own vehicles, except for the initial tech.
I have the Honda HRV and I just put a partial on her and she's great.
What is the partial? Is that that back unit where you can put everything back there?
So it's a hatchback and the back opens up. And so all of the supplies stay in the back of the inside of the truck, and then
Okay.
the bucket and the scooping supplies stay on the outside of the cargo trailer.
Ooh, okay,
I've
that's nice.
just I'll have to send you a picture. It's not exactly how I want it, but we just moved her from a truck to the car because the truck went down. It was time to
Mhm.
retire the truck. And it seems to be working pretty well.
Good. How do you like it compared to the truck?
I haven't scooped out of it, so I don't know, but I asked her and she says she's got a good flow and she doesn't mind it.
Okay, that's good. I know
Yeah.
I've scooped out of my car and my truck. The truck's nice because you could just throw all that in the back of there really quick. But car, you got to open the back and put everything in. But
Now,
gas,
do you guys haul the waste away or do you leave it at the home?
we used to haul all the waste. And then when I brought on our first person, he didn't have a truck and we weren't necessarily balling like that where we could buy a new truck for him. So we had him drive his own vehicle. So we did a whole company switch where we don't haul the waste. We accept on the initial cleanups and for one times. We haul it for that. But otherwise, we have them drive their own vehicles and they drop it off in the client's trash.
Now, how does that verbiage go when you ask them, like when you're putting out the job description of what you need? How do you say, hey, I need for you to use your own vehicle?
Yeah, we haven't really had anyone have an issue with it. We put it out there. I think in our ads, we just have you must have a reliable vehicle. You do use your own vehicle to go job to job. Our routes are pretty dense, so you're in the same little neighborhood. You're not, just getting demolished on gas. So we really haven't had any pushback on it. Our hourly wage is, I think, $10 higher than the minimum wage here. So people, I think, are attracted to that, and then they're like, okay, a couple bucks for gas or something works into where they're still making good money compared
Yeah.
to they typically would be.
Do you have them slap a magnet on it on the vehicle?
I do, yeah. We have side magnets, and then we're working on uniforms. That's a tough one because winter and summer, you gotta, if you just have a t-shirt, it's gonna get covered up in the winter because I want them to be warm. But uniforms go pretty expensive once you're getting all weather type of gear. So we're working on like these kind of like little like the mesh jackets. Have you seen like the employees like at Lowe's, like the vest they wear? We're working on stuff like that, where we have like our little logo on it and they can put it over anything.
I have those. They're hot pink, but they don't have the logo.
Oh, nice.
But it's just Crystal and I, and so we just both wear hot pink jackets.
Nice.
And so they're high vis, but there's no logo on it. But we have black pants and then my pink top. And then if we wear a black jacket, I require us to wear the high pink, high vis safety belts.
Perfect.
We look like
That's awesome.
safeties.
Yeah, and you guys are probably just known by that hot pink brand now. So if
Yeah.
anyone in their yard has anything hot pink on, they're like, oh, it's just the scoopers.
That's
Great.
kind of what my branding's been, and it's been cool. But sometimes I did have a gentleman work for me for a little bit, and I was like, am I gonna make him wear this hot pink?
Absolutely.
I gave him the option. I said, you have pink and black shirts, and so in the summertime he tried to wear the black, but he said it's just too hot, so he wore the pink.
Good for him. Good for him. Yeah, no, that's most scooping companies you see don't. Hot pink's really different, so it's unique. I like that you guys do that. Most people are typically, your greens or blues. We're like yellow and blue.
Yeah.
I like how you guys are different.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I really wanted to stand out. At first, I had everything. It was blue and black because blue is my favorite color. And I'm like, it's just not popping. So I asked the woman I said, switch it to pink. And I said, there it is. That's it. We're rolling
That's the
with that.
one.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
love that.
So you have 8 employees, you said?
Yes, we have 7 scoopers and 1 part-time office person who kind of as a scooper every now and then.
Yeah, the fill-in. So do they all start at the same time? Do you stagger their start times?
Yeah. So our lead tech starts at 7 a.m. because he just likes finishing early. And he has a little more flexibility because he's been with us forever. So he's been so consistent with us. He just does whatever he wants. Everyone else says 8 a.m.
8 a.m. Oh yeah, that's good. Here the sun doesn't come up until darn near 8 a.m. So we couldn't even sleep at 7.
Gotcha. Okay.
Until the summer.
to work out pretty well. Most people, everyone gets their jobs done in the day with some daylight left to go, hang out with the family or whatnot. I don't want people scooping after dark. So,
And I don't want people scooping when we can smell dinner. If dinner's being cooked, I prefer us not to be in there. So we're usually done by 4 o'clock.
That's great. Yeah, us too. That works perfect.
Now, how do you handle with all those employees? How do you handle the complaints?
That's a tough one. And I think it's through hiring correctly. We don't have that many employees. I mean, it's only 7, so we don't get that many complaints. Maybe 1 or 2 a month. And it's never something serious. It's like, hey, he missed, one spot, or it's always from the same clients too. Mm-hmm. And we always just send the tech right back out there. Or, if it's the next day, I'll have our lead tech go do it, or I'll go do it. Just keeping everyone happy, give them a free service every now and then. If it's like, this person's called twice this month, they're probably getting a little irritated with us. But for the most part, our complaints are really low. I'm happy with where it's at. We can always be better. But so far, I'm happy with it.
Now, do you take the complaints yourself, or do you have somebody else take the complaints?
I take the complaints because I take the quality of work really, really serious, which is why I think that plays into why we're growing so quick, and especially our word of mouth, because people refer when we're doing a good job. Because you take the average business, they're not doing that well. The customer service isn't as great. They don't call you back. So we try and do all that stuff, and it seems to work out.
Was there a point in time, so you get your first set of complaints, right? And you're doing the work. I know with me, I took it personal. Like it affected me. Yeah. At what point where it still hurts a little bit, but it's not so personal, and it's more, you look at it from a business mindset. Did that happen early on, or did it take you a while?
It took me a while. It still hurts every now and then, depending on if the complaint is unique or not. Like actually today we got a complaint. We had a lady who called, and she said, my tech dropped their poop off in her recycling bin. And I was like, her recycling bin? And I was wondering if maybe she didn't know that we dropped the poop in her trash can, even though we're really clear about that. But, sometimes people don't read everything when they're signing up. Yeah. But no, she was like straight in the recycling bin. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That one hurt me a little bit because that's a new one for me. But we settled that real quick. But like the typical complaints, like, hey, there's a little bit missed here or there. It doesn't bother me too much anymore. But the unique complaints still get me.
Yeah, when they come in, it's like, oh, that hurt. Mm-hmm. And my husband's like, you got to quit getting so emotional about it. I'm like, I know. It still hurts a little bit.
I feel the same way.
All right. So where you're at, you said about 500 or so customers. Mm-hmm. So what's your next step from where you're at right now? Like your goal for or plan for 2023?
Yeah, great question. So we just brought on our office person. She was one of our scoopers, and now I want to move her to just full-time office. So we're hiring another scooper to take her spot. That's a big thing for me. I want to get her going part-time, but it's like 4 or 5 hours a day. So it's kind of like right in the middle there. I want to get her full going. I mean, this is her second week actually. So we're still training. We're still learning everything. So once we get this going, I'll be really happy about that. That's my priority number 1. And then we really want to focus a lot more on commercial this next year. I mean, just getting these 3 properties today, I got really pumped up about it. So we're going to focus commercial. A lot of that is relationships, just knowing the property managers or the regional managers. So we're going to start, I read this book called Giver's Gain, and it's really just all about just giving. And it's the law of reciprocation, right? So what we're going to start doing is we're going to drop in little gift bags off, Krispy Kreme donuts, this kind of stuff to all these businesses around us and apartment complexes and managers. We'll set aside a little bit in the budget every month just to do that and give and just get our name out there. And, just associated with something positive, making, just average person's day at the apartment complex or something. And it goes a long way. It really does. So we're pushing for commercial. It's a lofty goal, but I want to double our client base. We'll see how that one goes. I think we're moving in the right direction. We're moving to our busy season. So as of right now, it looks good, but we'll see where we're at come summer. And I think that's what I'm at for right now. Just push commercial and try and double our client base.
So when you say we're, do you have other people that are helping you, or are you pretty much doing this all of yourself just with your part-time? Or do you incorporate like your scoopers, your team, and have team meetings? How does that work?
That's a great question. I need to do a lot better at this. I would love to do it where I have all kinds of team meetings and I'm trying to incorporate everyone in just the overall brand. But I do say we're. I don't have any partners or anything, so I'm pretty much doing it myself. However, I like my little team, so I say we're for everything.
Yeah.
Also helps when you're talking to clients and you say we're. It sounds a lot better than saying I, versus a solo guy. They like working with an organization or a company. Um, and I don't know. I like building the team up, and I would like my office person to stick around forever, and give her a piece of the business one day, that kind of stuff. So I want to incorporate more people in the business and grow into something nice.
Yeah, I do the same thing too, but for right now, for the most part, it's myself. And sometimes I'll talk to my husband about it, but he's not in the business, right? And so um he's not staying up late to figure all this stuff out
No,
with me type deal. I'm like, I need somebody in here to kind of bounce ideas off of because it's hard. It's hard to do it all by yourself, and it's good to have
absolutely.
other people's input, especially when there's a lot of different options.
Yeah, I think that's why I reach so hard for the war and building a team.
Yeah.
Uh, Especially as the bigger you grow, the more responsibilities, and you run into things you didn't have before. Different obstacles and stuff. So it's nice having someone to help kind of carry that burden a little bit. So that's why
Yeah.
I'm pushing hard for my office person and trying to incorporate them in the business as much as they can, where they think of it like it's theirs, like they care about it and they care about how it does. So that's what I'm really pushing for, and I hope it works out well with the lady we just hired.
I really hope that it does. And I'll be excited to hear about it, to be to be honest, and how you make that work.
Yeah, I'll keep you in the loop.
No, yeah, thank you. And you do pretty well about posting in the groups too. So as you have your good days, you have your bad days. What do you
Yep.
do on the days when it's bad and you're stressed out? What do you do to decompress?
Yeah, that's a tough one for me. I'm typically pretty motivated and I'm trying to get after it every day. There's some days where I just can't get it going, brain fog or whatever it is. Where you're just kind of sitting there and nothing's happening. Um, I try and drink a lot of water, get some good sleep, and maybe go to the gym in the morning. That typically helps a lot. And just trying to push through it. Or if it's a problem that's weighing me down, maybe seek outside advice. I've been trying to get smarter people than me around me and in my circle. So maybe reach out to someone like that, someone who's done it, or even like in our Facebook group, reach out to like Mike Caston,
Yeah.
or people like him. He's been great, or you even. I've talked to you about stuff as well. So that's a big one for me that helps me kind of push over whatever it is that's going on. But if it's just a slow day, I'll just try and do healthy things for me in my mind. Or if it's an obstacle, just reach out to people.
I was talking to my buddy, he's a landscaper. We were in the DMs chit-chatting, and I was just moaning and groaning. He's like, you sound like you need to go to the gym.
Yep.
I'm like, I actually was supposed to go to the gym and I canceled it because I'm in my field right now and I'm eating some bad, like chocolate covered, waxy, covered pretzels. And he's like, go to the gym. So I
Go to
did.
the gym. Yeah.
I did. I came back and I felt so much better. And I'm like, okay, I can tackle this problem. It's not an issue.
Yeah, it clears the mind up. You feel way better.
Yeah.
Stresses out. It's great.
Yeah. So what you're super motivated naturally, but is there a specific thing that keeps you motivated?
Not really. I just kind of want to get after it. I mean, what else would I be doing with my time? I'd just be working a job, and to be honest, I like working for myself. I don't enjoy the corporate style of things or just a regular W-2. It's just not me. So I kind of enjoy being in charge and being in charge of what I can make as well. That really pushes me. And I didn't grow up in a family that was, super affluent. So just kind of pushing it for my family as well, try and get us into a better status, or to help my parents as they're getting older, that kind of thing. My grandparents actually raised me. They're getting up there. So, things are starting to unwind with that. So, just kind of pushing it for my family and for me and keep myself busy.
Yeah, no, that's a good goal to have, and you have purpose behind it, right? Because you're
Yeah.
working towards something and taking care of them. And it sucks. My parents are getting up there in age. My dad had a stroke in 2020,
Mm.
and watching their health decline, man, it sucks. And it
Yeah.
does. It lights fire in you.
I'm sorry to hear that. Is he doing better now?
He lost his eyesight. He went blind.
Oh man.
Yeah. And he
Sorry
was
to
a
hear
small
that.
business owner too.
Sure.
And that was something he didn't prepare, right? He didn't
Mm.
put money into like IRAs. He didn't have retirement. He didn't have any of that stuff. And that's something I was going to ask too. So with me, when I left the hospital, I had IRAs and I put money into it every single month. And when I left the hospital, I knew that I still wanted to do that. So I had to incorporate that into my pricing, all that good stuff. So are you putting in a retirement right now, or is it something that you kind of waited on?
That's a great question, and I definitely should be, but I am not. I'm kind of just reinvesting most everything I would do for that. Definitely not advice I would give to anyone but myself. But I'm trying to push it, and I'm trying to make either my businesses or I'm starting to get into like real estate, that kind of stuff. I'm trying to make that my retirement versus your traditional routes, which are fantastic, by the way. Don't think I'm saying anything bad about IRAs. But no, I definitely should be, but at the moment I am not.
Yeah, because you can diversify, and I have a money management team. So I have my traditional IRAs, which you can max
Good.
that out at like 6,500. And then through
Mhm.
your business, you can offer something called a simple IRA.
Okay.
And each person, and even if you're an employee of your business as owner, you can be, you can max that out. I want to say at like 17,500 per year.
Oh
And then the
wow.
business can give a 3% match to each employee that contributes.
Huh.
Um,
Okay. So if you put yourself on your own payroll, then you could contribute technically.
yeah, because I believe I'm an S corp, and so I am an employee of my business too, and so I'm able to have a simple IRA along with Crystal. She can have it as well, and that was something that was important to me. I wanted to offer that
Yeah, absolutely.
with this business, and eventually offer benefits, some type of
That's so
healthcare.
cool. Are you working towards that, or do you already benefits?
I do not offer the healthcare yet. It's something I'm working towards, but the simple IRA, that'll be finalized hopefully by April.
That's awesome. Are you're gonna match what she contributes, or to a
Yeah.
certain
So you match 3%. You can match
3%? Okay,
up to 3% of what they put in.
that's interesting. I want to do that for my lead tech for sure. I've been talking to him about it.
Yeah. If you have your accountant or a wealth management team,
Mhm.
they can kind of direct you through that and look through your books, figure out, what the best option is for you.
Yeah, that's great. I'm actually filing as an S corp for the first time as well this year.
Yeah.
So I put myself on my payroll like 6 or 8 months ago, something like that, and which is a big thing actually for anybody listening. Like, you save 15% on self-employment tax for whatever you pay yourself. You don't have to pay that 15%. So that's a big deal. It adds up.
Yeah. I'm just filing this year for the first time,
Okay.
and he's working through my taxes. And I'm like, okay, how much do I owe? Because last year it wasn't pretty. Like last year was not good for me. And so he said this year is going to be way better
Good.
because of switching over. I don't have the final
Yeah,
number,
absolutely.
but we're getting there. All right. So
I'm in the same boat.
if you don't mind, how old are you?
I just turned 24 last week.
Oh gosh, a 25 for me was the best. I loved being 25, but
Yeah.
that was a decade ago. Um,
Nah, you don't look it.
it was. It's the good lighting over here. But if
Yeah.
you could go back to your younger self, I don't know, let's say 18 or before you started the business, what's
Mhm.
one piece of advice that you would give yourself?
Yeah, here's more bad advice that I wouldn't give anyone else but myself is I would tell myself because I dropped out of college 2 years in. I would tell myself just not to go to college. I would have started my pooper scooper business when right out of high school, and I'd probably be a lot further along than I am now.
I agree. I agree with that. I dropped out of school too, and the only class that I am happy that I took was my public speaking. I took it
Oh,
once.
yes.
I dropped out because I was deathly afraid to talk in front of people.
Scary.
Me.
But
And
here
then
you are now, facing your
yeah, and I
fears.
went back and I took it again. And now I would love to be a public speaker. I would love to be on stage and talk to a crowd. So
You are on your way.
one day, right? I'm going to speak at DECA at the high school again. I spoke to them 2 years ago.
Okay.
And so it's kids that want to be entrepreneurs and they're in a club and they want me to come talk some crap with them.
That's freaking exciting.
Yeah.
That's
So it's
awesome. I like that.
I
How do
know.
you manage it? Pretty much running two businesses, social media and the Poop Scoop business.
Some days I feel like I'm losing my mind. Like today, for instance, it's a wave, right? And it's all about time management because I'm a wife, I'm a stepmom, I have the business, and then I also have the social media business, and I'm just
Yeah.
very deliberate with my time. I have a
Okay.
schedule. I try to stick to that, and then I also create boundaries, right? Because I have a lot of people in my life that are pulling at me because I'm doing well, right? Um,
Absolutely.
I'm thriving in life, and people that maybe aren't, want to kind of bring me down
Yep.
sometimes with their BS. And I have to say, no, I don't have time for this. I can't have this conversation with you right now because I have something that I'm trying to do. I'm available tomorrow at 5. Can we chat tomorrow at 5?
That's
And
great.
I've had people be very upset with me and be like, oh, you're not the same. Or, I need for you to listen to me right now. I said, no, I cannot because
Yeah.
I'm
That's great. I love
ready
that.
to have a meeting. And so going to therapy, that's really important for me is
Yeah.
having those personal and professional boundaries. And if I have so much to do, I look through the list of all the things and I list it from level of importance. And sometimes things don't get done, like my laundry or the house get
Yeah.
cleaned. And so then I hire that out because I need
That's
help.
awesome. I love
So
that.
yeah. And if
Question,
you,
what do you
yeah,
do for what do you do for like how do you keep that organized? Like do you schedule? What are the softwares you use to manage your time?
well, I use Jobber. Jobber is my CRM of choice.
Yeah,
Link
I
will be
know.
down in the description for all of you if you want to check out a free trial.
Yeah.
So anything that is business related, right? Or something that I need to do throughout the day, I'm always in Jobber. So if I need to go take care of something that's while I'm out scooping, I have an account created for myself, for my dog, and I will schedule a task as my dog for the
That's
task that
awesome.
I need to do.
Okay, I love that.
So I do that. I check that off. But as for other daily things, my friend taught me this. I put everything in Google Calendar. I color code it for my
Ooh,
personal, my work, and then family. And then throughout the day, once I complete that task, I go in and I delete it out. And
nice.
my day, I don't want to go to sleep before my day is cleared out.
Yep. Yeah, you just
And
want to
if
hit
I'm,
on your list, your whatever your to-dos are. Do you
yeah, and I like
or
move it
do you
over.
just do task by task?
I create an event because for some reason with my phone, it doesn't give
Okay.
me a notification with a task.
Gotcha.
And if it's super duper important, I put that in red.
Ooh, okay. That's
And
good.
then if it's something for my husband and I link our calendars and he also gets an invite.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so he can't say like, I didn't know. I'd be like, you need to check your calendar,
You're
sir.
attached, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do the review, like those commercials.
Yeah. So I do that. And it's just being like diligent and staying on top of myself and writing stuff down and holding myself accountable. But
Mm.
honestly, there's days like today, I came home and I needed to figure out my routing and I got super overwhelmed. And I was like, you know what? I can't think right now. I can't do anything because my brain's not focusing. I laid down, I took a nap. I said, I'm going to have this meeting with you. I'm going to have some dinner and then I'm going to revisit it later.
Heck
So I
yeah.
think just being like aware of who you are as a person and working with that has been good for
Yeah.
me.
Side note, routing is a huge headache. I'm
Yes.
right there with you. I'm not good at it personally. Like it's hard for me to figure out. That's why I don't even offer 2 times a week yet. I only offer once a week.
That's my issue right there. I offered it to far too many people and now I'm in a pickle.
Okay.
With routing until I hire somebody else. If I can hire somebody, it's not going to be a problem. But
Yeah.
with me going down, it's too many houses.
Yeah. What do you do? That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I could keep working, but the doctor told me that I need to rest my arm. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to take all of February off to get the
Do it.
tennis.
Get someone hired and do it.
I know, but I'm like, how do I hire? Everybody's found me.
Oh, this is what I use for my hiring, and it might be good.
Did you?
Hiring's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Indeed. And it seems to work well. It works well for hiring scoopers. I wouldn't recommend it for like office people. But for my scoopers, it works well. They charge me about $13 an application. However, when an application comes in, they give you like 3 days where you can review that person and decline them. So if you decline them within that 3 days, they don't charge you.
Ah,
So eventually, if you really stay on it, and you have to stay on it, otherwise you're going to get hit with a large bill, you can hire almost for free. But how they get you is 3 days, the weekend comes, you don't check, and then all of a sudden you have like 40 people who escape through those 3 days. So if you're really on it, you can hire on Indeed pretty much for free.
now, are you just bringing in one person at a time, or are you trying to bring in a couple, interview them, and vet them out to see if they will stay or show up?
That's a great question. I am very, very picky with who I bring on. And that's why my team's pretty good, dang good right now, is because I've probably gone through to get the 7 people, I've probably interviewed 500.
Wow.
To a lot of people. So like tomorrow we have 7 people interviewing. So I schedule a lot of interviews and I hire who checks out first past our screen. They have a good work history. They've shown they can stay at a job for a little while. No criminal convictions, anything like that. And then, after we interview in person, if I feel like they did well, and the scheduling works out for them, then I'll bring them on. And sometimes those people don't even work out. We had a lady we hired a month ago, and bless her heart, it was no fault of her own. Her eyes were just a little too bad. She couldn't see everything. So she was missing a little too much. So she actually just voluntarily just ended her employment with us. But it's little things happen here and there. It's a numbers game with hiring, though. You got to get in as many people as you can, and hopefully a couple stick. So I typically hire 2 to 3 at a time.
Huh. Okay. Okay. Well, let's snowball on this for a minute.
Yeah.
So you hire 2 or 3 at a time, and you tell them you're going to be working part-time. You're called as needed, or how do you?
Yeah, no, I do 3 days per week for all of them.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they work their whatever shifts whatever houses we give them. So typically it's the same days all 3 weeks. Every now and then I'll try and squeeze someone in who's like has a crazy schedule that like they can work here and there, and I'll schedule them as like a fill-in,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. I don't have anyone on my team right now that does that, but I'm looking for another one. We had a lady, but she moved to where she had just 3 days set schedule. So you can just be flexible with it. That's why I don't do all full times. Is because if a full-time person just quits on me today, I have full-time work to somehow fill. So I do everyone 3 days because I can, one person quits, it hurts, but I could probably squeeze it out. And worst case scenario, I can go do it myself and have part-time for the office still.
Yeah. And then your other scoopers, they're pretty flexible. So if somebody calls
Yep.
in, they jump in. They're like, yeah, we got this.
Exactly. And I have scoopers who like, I have 2 of my 7 that they're always looking for extra hours. So whenever we have it, and we honestly have an extra day for them most weeks. So whenever they need the extra work, we have it. If someone calls in, like for tomorrow, Caitlin's my office person. She would normally be scooping tomorrow, but we had one of our other scoopers who wanted more hours. So I filled her in for Wednesday so Caitlin could just do the office stuff with us. So you just gotta kind of play with it. It's a struggle, but I do 3 days a week, about 8 hours in the day.
Yeah. I need
It's fun.
to work on that, because that's literally the thing that's been stopping me, and my anxiety gets so high, and
Mhm.
but I can't grow. Like I can't move to the next level, and I know I need to. I'm capable of it. So I think this interview was meant to happen, because
Heck yeah.
I needed you to like help me and talk to me.
Well, go out and do it. Go sign up for Indeed today. I'm gonna check in with you in a couple days.
Okay, accountability partners.
Yes, there we go.
That's
I love it.
important to have.
Absolutely, it is. It's a big deal.
Yeah. God, this was such a good interview. This is so good. Is there anything that you want to touch on before we hop off? Anything we didn't talk about?
I think that was it. Honestly, I got in a couple questions for you. You grilled me. So I think we're good.
Are you pretty active on social? You have Facebook, you have Instagram? Where you
I have
at?
a Facebook. Well, I have everything, but I don't really use it.
Okay.
Shoot me if you want to shoot me a friend request on Facebook. That'll be the easiest way to reach me. I'm active on the Pooper Scooper group. And besides that, that's about it. I'm really bad at socials, even though I'm trying to get better at it.
It's a business in itself.
Absolutely. I've been
That's
watching your stuff and I'm like, I want to do this, and I know it's great for networking which is what I want to do, which is part of the reason I took this interview, because this is not what I'm used to. I'm not good at this stuff. I just want to step outside my comfort zone a little bit. So I love what you do. I love all the stuff you're doing. YouTube's great. Podcasts are great. I don't know how you juggle it all.
I have this strong pull on my heart to put the information out there because this business has changed my life, right? I was not happy where I was working. And because I was able to start this business, things are a lot different for me financially, mentally, the opportunities, the people I've gotten to meet. And even on the days when I'm super tired, I'm like, I have a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to produce this content. And so that's what keeps me going. Because it's a passion project right now, pretty much. Yeah, and eventually, I don't know if I'm going to be able to juggle it all, but I want to, and so that's
what would you want to do? Would you want to move social full time, or would you want to grow a massive poop scoop business?
I don't know. I'm not sure because I have only had either one or two scoopers, and then maybe a third part time. I don't know what it's like to have a massive business.
Gotcha. And that's subjective as well. It just depends on what you think is a big business, right?
Yeah.
I don't consider my business big at all. I consider myself in the baby stages still. I still want to grow and do as best I can.
Yeah, get it as big as possible. And to where it's manageable and you're still happy within the business. I think that's what I want. Whatever stage I get in business, I want to still love my business.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah. When it gets to that point where I'm like, nope, I don't like this anymore, then I think that that's enough.
Yeah, heck yeah. And then you just focus on, whatever you're making all these good investments with your IRA and getting yourself set up for the future. So hopefully you can just move into whatever keeps you the happiest.
I'm getting a lake house.
Heck yeah.
I want a lake house. I want to be able to wake up in the morning, get my coffee and go on my stand-up paddleboard and paddle around my nice little lake.
Yes, I love that. What part of Michigan are you from?
Like Detroit, Michigan.
Detroit? Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's not pretty. It's
pretty far from where I was raised.
Were you further up?
No, I was like by Illinois a little bit. I was in Niles, Michigan. Like Eau Claire, like Berrien Springs.
I've never even heard of that. I'll have to look it up.
It's real tiny. It's like right in like the bottom corner by Illinois.
Yeah, we're in. It's a city. There's just a lot of houses. There's no lakes. There's nothing really fun to do around here. And so I got to travel out to Brighton or Northville or go up to the UP to do anything that I like to do because I like to hike. I like to do all that
outdoorsy stuff. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I love it.
That's
I do.
Awesome.
All right. So what I'll do is I'm going to include your links, your socials down in the description. So for our listeners can keep in touch with you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for hopping on with me.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
All right. And until next time, you guys. Bye.
Thanks, guys.